Welcome to ranking countries by their best roller coaster, the third installment in a series where I go to Captain Coaster's worldwide rankings and filter them by country to find out which one has the best roller coaster. This time, we're taking a look at all of the Asian countries. Just like the European version, in order for a country to be eligible for this list, it must have at least one coaster that is ranked on the Captain Coaster leaderboards. So, if there's an Asian country you think I left out, it's because it doesn't have any coasters on the leaderboards. Unfortunately, that eliminates a significant number of Asian countries from being featured, only leaving 12 Asian countries to rank. Because of that, this won't be a two-parter. Instead of a part 2, I'll rank the best coasters in Asia as a whole. You guys seem to want that according to my community poll. Before I get into the list, I'm going to do something I haven't done before in previous installments, and that's giving an honorable mention. I'm giving it to India, with coasters such as Hot Wheels Nitro, a B&M floor list that looks pretty decent, and Deep Space, an indoor launch coaster from Premier Rides that looks like some kind of space mountain. While no coaster in India is ranked on the leaderboards, they still have a sizable collection too significant to leave out of the video. They don't get a spot on the official list, but I wanted to make sure they weren't completely forgotten. Starting the official list at number 12 is Thailand, with its best coaster being Vortex, boasting a relatively low rating of 26.5% and ranked number 1,345 worldwide. When you realize this is a Vekoma SLC, you begin to understand why it's ranked so low. These rides are notoriously bad, with only a few good ones operating with the new trains, some even getting new track work like Great Nor'easter and Maurice Piers. Despite the low ratings though, there are 3 reviews for this ride and they don't seem to be too critical of the ride. Maybe they're just grateful for what they have. Moving on to number 11, we have Qatar, with their best coaster being Epic Coaster at Doha Quest, having a rating of 71% and is ranked number 490 worldwide. This is an indoor Premier Rides launch coaster that also apparently holds the record for world's tallest indoor coaster. It starts with a backwards launch going up a spike, that being the tallest point of the ride. From there, it stays pretty low to the ground, with the exception of the 0G roll that pretty much hugs the ceiling. There aren't any reviews of this ride on Captain Coaster, just ratings, but the ratings alone are enough to solidify its place. Already cracking the top 10, we have Malaysia, with their best coaster being Supersonic Odyssey. This coaster has a rating of 73.1% and is ranked number 455 worldwide. This is a strange looping coaster manufactured by Intamin, and like the last entry, this one is also indoors. What I find most impressive about this ride is how they were able to pack it into such a tight space. You have people walking all around underneath the coaster, and you also have walkways going through the loop. The interaction this ride has with its guests is pretty uncommon here in the States. You're able to get close to pretty much every square inch of this ride, with reviews saying things like, "The location of this ride is stunning, and the hang time on the first Heartline roll was amazing. The vertical loop was pretty forceful, but the rest of the ride didn't have any other forces. The best usage of the space they had. Not the top coaster, but still much fun." At number 9, we have Vietnam, with their best coaster being Wrath of Zeus. It is rated 86.2% and it is ranked number 227 worldwide. This is a launched Firestorm model manufactured by Vekoma, and it looks great. As I've said, Vekoma specializes in element execution. This layout is no different, with the transitions between each element being extremely fluid between one another. This looks like a coaster I can add to the list of reasons Vekoma should definitely start making more coasters in the United States. With reviews saying things like, "Almost perfect. I rode this coaster 4 times yesterday. I love all of the elements. Wrath of Zeus is magnificent. Such an intense ride. I love my coasters fast and furious, but this one made me gray out. The launch, top hat, and inversions are absolutely insane." At number 8, we have Singapore, with their best coaster being Battlestar Galactica at Universal Studios Singapore, having a rating of 87% and is ranked number 208 worldwide. Mind you, these stats are for the inverted side, not the sit-down side. I figured I'd clarify, as there's always a debate about whether or not coasters like these count as 1 credit or 2. Personally, I say 2 different credits. They're completely different experiences, and so does Captain Coaster, but for the list's sake, we'll lump both together as one experience. I'll admit, the layout doesn't look that exciting, but the dueling aspect and launch lift likely elevates the ride experience, with reviews saying things like, "A very good inverted coaster with a decent launch and intense inversions. It isn't rough like other Vekoma coasters I've ridden and it has a unique layout. A lot smoother than most SLCs. Inversions are forceful and decently intense. Took me by surprise, and barring one slow spot, the ride is good and fast paced. Much smoother than an SLC." At number 7, we have Taiwan, with its best coaster being Gravity Max, boasting an 89.9% rating, and it is ranked number 162 worldwide. I briefly mentioned this coaster in a previous video talking about Siren's Curse. Essentially, This is the precursor to the modern tilts we have today. Except with this one, the tilt track was the main draw of the ride. They spent so much effort on the tilt mechanism and not so much on the rest of the layout. Even still, this ride has its place, and I imagine many enthusiasts would still like to ride the first ever tilt coaster. This was also the coaster that many YouTubers use as a thumbnail for things like top 10 deadliest coasters, so there's that. Look, I know that this ride is a one-trick pony, but I don't care. That trick is absolutely astounding. This is probably one of the best old-gen Vekoma roller coasters out there. Man, this is by far one of the best Vekoma coasters, and it truly shows the creativity of the company. At number 6, we have Turkey, with its best coaster being Hypercoaster at Land of Legends, with a rating of 95.7% and ranked number 65 worldwide. First off, yeah, Turkey is a double dipper. This country was also featured in the European installment, but I'll allow it because this country sits in the Eurasia region. Everything I said about this ride for the European installment still holds true, so I'll just replay exactly what I said in that video. This is the same ride that has that obnoxiously tall loop that encircles the lift hill, but it is so photogenic. It looks like an awesome ride. Europe is getting some of the best bucket list coasters that Americans wish they can ride. From Vekoma suspended thrill coasters to mock hypercoasters, that just leaves us Americans waiting for when one of these will finally make its way over. Breaking into the top 5, we have the United Arab Emirates, with its best coaster surprisingly being Flying Aces at Ferrari World, with a rating of 97% and is ranked number 47 worldwide. I thought for sure Formula Rossa would win, but alas, we have this Intamin wing coaster. This is the same ride type as Skyrush at Hershey Park, but this one features taller elements, focusing less on staying low to the ground. It still looks like it manages to pack ejector airtime in there, and I think it might have a more dynamic layout than its United States counterpart. It looks like a solid coaster all around. Simply amazing. Went to Ferrari World for Formula Rossa, but this thing stole the show completely. The best air times I've ever felt, and huge intensity makes this the ride you shouldn't miss. At number 4, we have South Korea, with their best coaster being Monomo Rush, formerly known as T-Express, at Everland. It is rated 98.2% and it is ranked number 30 worldwide. This Intamin prefab Woody looks insane, featuring a gorgeous setting and of course an airtime filled layout. Everyone who's ridden it says it's either just as good or even better than its US counterpart El Toro. This is also just one of those rides that just never seems to end. It keeps its speed well, almost defying the laws of physics to make it so. The reviewers on Captain Coaster still seem to love Monomo Rush after it was renamed from T-Express, except they don't really like the new name, I guess. A coaster I want to keep riding, but the new name is really f***ing bad. Monomo Rush is such a downgrade from T-Express. Nice going, Samsung. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Great ride, better than most, maybe even better than El Toro. Alright, starting our top 3, we have China, with its best coaster being Dynaconda at China Dinosaurs Park. It is rated 99.2% and it is ranked number 13 worldwide. This is an almost identical mirror image version of X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain, but this one seems to run a lot faster. There's also some differences with the way the seats rotate, making this an overall more intense experience than the original. As a huge fan of X2, I can see myself loving this ride just as much, if not more. The reviews also seem to agree, with Bruno the Flying Dinosaur just saying Dynaconda, except the Conda is replaced with Conda. Nice. No matter how many roller coasters you've ridden in the world, this one is different. The ride is very intense and inhumanly aggressive. Ejinaika's Chinese cousin. Speaking of Ejinaika, at number 2 we have Japan, with its best coaster being Ejinaika at Fuji-Q Highland, rated 99.5% and ranked number 8 worldwide. Same premise as Dynaconda, except this ride is taller. Additionally, the ride is situated near the base of Mount Fuji, so the views are obviously going to be insanely great. I've talked about this coaster in the previous video I made, and for good reason. It's Japan's crown jewel, it's S&S's magnum opus, it's everything a coaster enthusiast dreams about. It's my number 1 bucket list coaster and a lot of enthusiasts' favorite coaster of all time. With reviews saying, the most intense coaster I've ever been on, and it's not even close. The initial drop is wild and the craziness does not stop until the brake run. Imagine if X2 was bigger, better, and smoother. That's Ejinaika. The layout is relentless, the forces are intense, and the pace is much better kept than on its predecessor. And hopefully to no one's surprise, taking home the victory is Saudi Arabia, with its best coaster being Falcon's Flight at Six Flags Qiddiya City, rated 100% and ranked number 1 worldwide. This is the kind of coaster you build in Planet Coaster when you're in sandbox mode, or something a kid would build in Roller Coaster Tycoon. It's real, People have ridden it, people have reviewed it, but it still feels like fantasy. It's been known for a while that Intamin will do anything for money, but this just takes it to another level. The first half feels and looks like a normal coaster, but then you launch on top of a cliff just to dive off of it and then experience a downwards launch to get you up to the top speed of 155 miles per hour. What's funny is this downward launch isn't even entirely necessary, as the top of the Camelback has permanent trims to slow the train down. They just wanted it to go 155 miles per hour. Where to even begin with this ride? Falcon's Flight is a marvel in theme park design and ride design, an ambitious idea challenging the limits of what a ride can do. Records that previously stood in place for upwards of 25 years were not just broken, but in every sense shattered. Top 1 right now. Straight to the point. Gotta love it. This ride is clearly the best coaster in the world. There are no dead spots, with the speed being so fast around the course it's hard for a human brain to compute the experience. That's a wrap on part 1 of 1 of ranking Asian countries by their best coaster. Like I said at the beginning of this video, we didn't have enough Asian countries to do 2 parts, so instead of doing 2 parts, I'm going to my community poll and doing the second option that you guys voted for. If you like what you see, I would appreciate a sub and a comment and maybe even a like to show that you care and support the coaster cause. That's all I got for you today, and I'll see you all next time.